guys. Welcome to today's podcast of the raw uncovered truth of the awakened soul with Nicole and Christy. So I'm going to turn it over to Christy, and I think she has an angel message for us. So take it away, girl.
Good morning. The angel message and reflection for today is: what lessons am I currently facing in my life? How can I embrace these lessons and see the opportunity for growth and self development? What can I do to channel the free flowing energy of my lessons into the world and support others on their journey to growth and evolution? So I feel that the angels are talking a lot about what lessons are we repeating and how can we use this new 1212 port to restart. So I'd like to give it back to Nicole, and I'd like to open up the discussion with the 1212 port that's coming up and how the energy is going to start to flow a lot smoother, but a lot faster going into the new year.
Okay, so let's start with my throat. My throat chakra is like all off here. So there's going to be times where I'm going to be coughing, drinking, whatever it is that I have to do. So the 1212 portal is a huge major shift happening right now. And the only reason, guys, why I'm probably looking down a lot is because I'm just channeling messages and writing them down. So basically it's a major shift. And from what I know is that we're starting to feel it already. So like, as when you look at the time's speeding up. It's like the days getting away from you. That all happens, that's all happening with the major shift that I would say Earth is going through right now. It's just going to intensify as it gets closer, the time is totally going to intensify. All good. I'm going to stress what I've been stressing the last two podcasts as far as always maintain a healthy mindset. So as soon as something comes up, and I think that's kind of go with your angel message too, because nothing's ironic. Everything's just, funny and on point.
Very true.
Is that, the lessons and the acknowledgement and all that stuff of repeating things. And when you repeat them and they kind of just keep coming up, you always have to have that mindset of, something beautiful, something full of abundance and prosperity and, like just this major, gorgeous life that you have pictured for you. Because if you don't, it's going to go and take a negative twist. And that is not where you're supposed to be. So you really kind of, especially from now until I would say the next full moon, which is December 15th, which is right around the 1212 portal. So it's going to be very intense next week. If you think like
Yes.
energy is crazy now, next week's going to be even more intense. But just kind of keep holding that like really strong vision and that mindset.
I wanted to
And
ask you too. We go direct from Mercury retrograde. Is that not on the 15th as well?
I had that written down. You think like mental noted, since I mental note all of these
It's
things that
right
I would
around then.
know.
It might not
It
be the
is right around. You know
15th.
what? I think it might be the 18th or something, but it might be the 15th. Hold on. Phase is over January 3rd, December 15th. Oh God.
Yeah, so
I didn't even
that's
see.
interesting because
Boy.
I'm
Right.
like, oh my gosh, we need to brace ourselves. Not only is it a full moon, but we are going direct at a Mercury retrograde.
Right, which is good though, because I mean, you're probably not even gonna feel like we're going direct because you have the full moon and the 12/12 portal. So it's just gonna be like, "Meh." But like, as far as electronics go now, I mean, I'm having a major, major issue with electronics, which I'm sure is just going to, again, you have I don't even know how to explain this in terms where it's literally like the earth is shifting, right? Like a major, major shifting is
Yeah.
happening. So like you have all the energetics from that. You have Mercury retrograde, which is like out of control right now. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be as bad as it is, but apparently it is. You have the communication going all over the place. The time is flying by. Like, and again, time is an illusion, right? Like we're the only sector, I don't know how you would say, we're the only people that have time.
Right.
Like there is no time. Like there is no like, there's no time anywhere else. So again, time is an illusion, but it's speeding up because we're literally shifting into a total, new direction of consciousness. So that's interesting in itself. And yeah, every single time, I mean, I've told you that, like every single time I look at the clock, it's like 2 hours gone by, 4 hours have gone by. I'm like, where the hell's my day? Like it's just, it's crazy.
Yeah,
It's
the
crazy. But
time is going so quickly. I feel like I almost can't grasp it. And I'm trying to slow down. I'm like, okay, if I slow my energy down and I calm down, will I be able to slow this fast forward motion that I feel like I'm living in? And it's not happening. I feel like
right?
it's speeding up even more, but I don't have a anxiety about it. I mean, obviously I want to like calm down, but I don't have an anxiety about it. I know that whatever we're moving full force to is something very positive.
Yeah.
So I'm taking it in strides and saying, I feel really good about it and I don't feel anxious about it. So I'm very positive to see what is going to be on the other side. And I am getting December 20th. I feel like something very positive is coming into fruition for the collective around the 20th of December. So I feel like all the things we've been working towards, if we have been continuing on our path for our goals, I feel like a lot of people are going to receive very good news around the 20th. So I keep getting that. And I feel like once the 20th comes, things will slow down a little bit. I think because we feel like we have more direction.
No slowing down, but yeah, I'm picking up on the direction. Absolutely, but it's not slowing down. They're like, nope. It's like maybe when you think that you're going to grasp this new reality. And no, they're just like telling me that it's just going they're showing me the whole month of December is going to be, but like you might be right about the 20th because I'm getting like midpoint of December. And I can't see the 15th being a potent day because it's got a lot of activity going on. So you might be right about the 20th.
I feel like the 15th might be one of those days where you feel like you're living in the twilight zone,
Where
to
you want to
be
run under the
completely
blanket and hide.
honest. Because I feel like there's like a warping of time. And I feel like we are just going to feel like we're living in the twilight zone for that day. I think that day is going to be very overwhelming and frustrating. And of course, it makes sense because of the holidays. But I think on top of that, it's
Right. So
going
you
to
have your human
feel,
behavior coming in also, right? I
yes,
mean, you have all this stuff, right? It's also winter is what, the 20th, the 21st. So you have that.
solstice.
Oh,
Yeah.
and then you have Capricorn season coming in. And listen, I'm not like a huge astrology person. I mean, like I love it. It's just not it's not my niche, but that's a lot of stuff happening in the middle of the month. Like that's a lot. So what was it? I wrote it down. So we have the full moon, you have the 12/12 portal, right? Then you have the full moon, you have Mercury going stationing direct, you have the winter solstice, and then you have Capricorn right there in like one big nice bundle of happiness and joy. So yeah, so December is just going to keep getting even more interesting. But I agree with you on the positivity wise. Everything's positive. Like I keep feeling like I've been telling you all week, like something's there and I'm trying to grab it, but it's just not grabbable yet. But like everything that's coming in is positive. I mean, I'm getting shifts where I'm like experiencing rage, like then I go from rage to wanting to cry to anxiety, but like it's not
Mhm.
my energy and I know it's not my energy. So I'm kind of saying I'm gonna kind of give the entryway to say that, as far as acknowledging all the lessons that you've been through and having to repeat some, I think right now, a majority of the collective is having to kind of transmute things that are coming up really fast. And I'm talking about like we have to transmute them like faster than we've ever been doing before. because it's kind of, that's what's like making us drop everything and up level even faster. And that would have to do with divine counterparts.
Right.
And I'm definitely picking up on the masculine collective and the masculine energy. So that's been fun trying to transmute that and
It
very
has been,
fast.
and it has been really strong. I felt it coming in around November, mid-November, mid towards end of November.
Mm,
I felt the energy slowly creeping in. And then by the beginning of December, the energy for the masculine collective was so strong and overpowering. I do feel that when you're talking about having those emotions, that some of them are coming from the masculine collective. Because I've been having the same type of feelings coming in, but I'm able to say, this is not my energy. Where is it coming from? And I'm picking up a lot on the masculine collective, sending messages. And I think it's interesting too that the masculine collective, in this sense, is coming in right when we're starting to put all of our life lessons together, trying to get out of the, I call it the merry-go-round cycle, where we keep repeating the same thing over and over. And I think a lot of the feminine collective are saying, I'm getting off of this merry-go-round and I'm moving forward. And I think the masculine is feeling that energy and now is trying to grasp on and pull the feminine back energetically. And I think we have to be very strong about not falling into that again, because with everything coming, we know this is the time we need to move forward. We need to move away from that situation, because at this time, it's not where we need to be. I feel like for a collective, and I'm sorry, there's going to be a lot of feminines out there that are probably going to be very upset with that, but it is the truth. Right now is not the time. The majority of the collective is not ready for the relationship. We need to continue on our path and continue growing. That's what I feel. I feel that the masculine is holding back the energy right now for the feminine. Do you want to weigh in on that?
I do, because they keep telling me to stress that we have to be able to know when it's not our energy. So even if we're picking up like on a whole other collective shift and not even masculine, they want, or just the collective in general, like even, like, just again, the collective in general, but they want me to stress the fact that we have to realize when it's not our energy and we have to clear it like 1, 2, 3. So like they're giving me the example of, when things like when I know it's not my energy, but they're showing me visions of, things in the past, but it's not me who's thinking about it. So,
Right.
you have to be able to kind of clear that out. And I'm feeling the rage and I'm feeling all of that, but it's not, you physically who's feeling it. It's what you're picking up on. Um, Also telling me to meditate a lot to ground yourself, which I did like 3 of them this morning and then went to like my
Yes.
go-to one and still I'm like it, so I was like 4 until like I literally grounded and got like everything kind of away from me, and then I had to shower and wash myself 3 times. But you have to clear your energy. Like, they want you to be very aware of clearing your energy and what's happening. But they really want you to focus, like as soon as something negative comes up, they really want you to focus on you've been there, you've done that, you're over it, you've processed it, you're above that, and like move forward. They're really stressing the mindset, of what the pictures that you're putting in your head and what you're throwing out there to the universe, which is all abundant, all abundance, prosperity in every aspect, in unconditional love, like every aspect of your being, of your life. They want you to focus on unconditional love, abundance, prosperity, every single aspect in career, in success, in love, in relationships, in friendships, any type of relationship, financial, wealth, gain, health. Like they want you to really focus on the bigger picture and having all of these things come to you, because it's coming. It's just you have to be able to to grasp it. It's coming, and I guess now that I'm on screen, it'll be easier to to do this. So it's like you're here and it's coming in, and it's like it'll just keep swirling around you until you're able to like kind of just absorb it and it comes to you. It's basically what they're showing me. It's like you're standing here and it's like whoosh, and then like latching onto you when you're ready. So be open is the moral of the story. Just be
Right.
open yourself as much as possible and be open.
Yeah, we have to choose to be open to every situation. And even if we feel, that fear base coming in again, we've got to push through it. I really feel like now is the time, all the things that for the last couple of years we've all wanted and everything that we've kind of been trying to dream into fruition, really feel like come January, we are finally going to get the abundance of that. So it's a matter of just continuing on the track, staying positive, staying focused. Like you said, be able to say to yourself, is this what I'm feeling coming internally, or is this being projected onto me? Be able to decipher it, clean it out, and keep moving forward on your path. Don't let anybody take you off your path. If they're not with you, then they're not with you. And if they're going to show up later, that's great. But we can't slow ourselves down because somebody else isn't with us at this moment. We have got to continue to walk up that mountain. And no matter how hard it gets, we have to move forward on the path. I think that that is really, really important to stress at this time, because I do feel like with us going forward so quickly, there is going to be a lot of people trying to throw us off of that path for the next, month or so. And we just have to continue to kind of block out all the noise and keep moving forward to our goal, whatever that goal may be. But a personal goal, not, not a goal that has to do with, you know,
Anyone else?
anyone else.
Yeah. No, absolutely. What's also coming in clear is, and I actually had this discussion with somebody on Instagram today, this morning, is basically, you're allowed to hold a version of someone that you thought, you know, not that you thought, that has that, like a higher potential. And I posted this on my own Instagram page, like I want to say like a month or two ago. But it's basically it's the song from Stick Season. What is it? Or it's called Stick Season. I forgot what it is. But anyway, it's like the verse where they say, I'm not gonna sing it because I'm a horrible singer, but like, and I dream each night of some version of you that I might not have, but I did not lose. So like basically they're telling me that it's okay, for you to hold on to that version and like keep that version of the person that has that potential and that you never lost, right? Because you didn't lose that version of that person, but it's time to walk. You gotta keep walking away. Very, you'll feel so much better, and like the weight will be lifted off you if you just hold that version, not so tightly anymore though, like just kind of hold it and put it like on the side in a relaxed motion, and then kind of move on with your day. They also wanted me to bounce off of the fact that you said like all the stuff is going to start coming in fast. They're saying that there is a collective line where it is trickling in right now. Obviously, we're not on that collective line, but they are saying that it is starting to trickle in, or maybe we are and we're just not noticing it because like everything's just like speeding so fast and I'm not even realizing it. But yeah, they are saying that it's starting to trickle in and it's going to start trickling down, like every level of collective. They were also talking about twin flames and the levels. Four. They're showing me 4 levels of twin flame awakenings and unions and reunions. I don't want to get into that personally. I don't want to talk about that if you want to take over from that, but they're just showing me that even if you're on that timeline of one of the reunion, they're saying that if your twin flame is not ready, which again, we're talking about divine counterparts, let's not get crazy with the twin flame like the
Right.
name and the title. But it will be replaced. It I say it. She, he will be replaced with someone so much better, something that you couldn't even imagine is coming in and and filling that contract that you guys had to do something, very impactful here during our major world shift. So it's basically about, the contracts and all that. But I think that's also where the 12-12 shift is coming in, because a lot of things are just falling off, and whoever's high is going to go high, and whoever's low is just going to kind of stay there and fall off. In what way, I'm really not sure, because it's not coming in clear to me. It is, but it's not at the same time. So I'm not going to say anything at this point, but it's going to be interesting to see like where people like end up that are in such a negative headspace, that are in such a an ego mindset, that kind of, I don't even know how to say that, like deny their spirituality, deny, everything and anything, and just refuse to acknowledge their mistakes, take accountability, all of that stuff. It's going to be very interesting to see how low of a vibration they really go, while we're going like super, super high. And I'm being told that we're going to go like super high. Like, it's, we're kind of going to be floating. I mean, I know some of us float already, right? But a lot of us are going to be, floating in a nice headspace of, lots of nice things. I don't know how else to say it. I'm sure like the terminology will come in later. But they're just telling me that it's gonna be very good. And just to focus on you. You gotta focus on you.
Right.
You really do.
You have to continue to focus on yourself, and that really is the whole purpose of this twin flame or soulmate journey. I think at the beginning of the journey, talking about just going into the levels a little bit, I really don't want to get too deep into it either, but talking about the levels a little bit, that first level is the beginning of the twin flame relationship, and that's all ego based. The first level, when you come into the relationship, it's all ego based. It's all about the relationship. It's all about what we want out of it. Everything is about the relationship. And then you kind of move into phase two, and it's kind of murky phase two. The reason why it's so murky is that we then start to actually be able to tune into our twin flame or soul counterparts energy. So the reason why it gets so hard is that we actually can feel their feelings at that stage too. So then we're thinking, oh, I need to reach out. I need to be a part of this because they're feeling me. I can feel that they're feeling me. And you go in and out. And I think this is where you start to play with fire in the twin flame relationship, because this is the runner and chaser. There's always one person running away. There's always one person chasing, thinking, I feel their energy, so they have to be thinking about me. So I'm going to constantly reach out. I'm going to constantly try. And this could be the feminine or the masculine. One of them plays each dynamic. So that's the second level. The third level is when you have to release. There comes a point in the relationship where you got to completely let it go. And the third level is where you're starting to let it go. You're starting to realize who this person is. You're starting to realize what the journey is really all about. And then you get to the fourth level. And the fourth level is when you can fully let it go. You've fully processed it. And now you've been working on yourself, and your counterpart starts to work on themselves. And then eventually, this is the part where, if it's meant to be, you will, in that fourth sense, come back in this together in this lifetime, or maybe not in this lifetime, because you don't know if your counterpart will be able to meet you there. But the whole point is that by the time you get to the third level, you realize that this journey is about me. It's not about the counterpart. And you start to grow. And this could be the feminine or the masculine, because I have a client that's a masculine and he's further ahead than the feminine, and he's up there and hoping that she meets him. So it's not always that the feminine is the one that's ahead on the journey, but what you come to realize is that the journey is about you, and you want them to meet you. You always can hold that in your heart. But if they can't meet you, then, like you were saying earlier, Nicole, it's only because God is waiting for you to meet that other person that can then meet you on your level. Yes, it won't be as intense of a connection, but really, if you think about it, do you really want that intense of a connection? Moving through the 3D world, it is difficult and it is hard. And if they can level up and meet you there, then maybe it could be something amazing. But if they can't, then I think that God is only trying to let you see that there's another person out there that you could really grow with, that's more on your level. That's really my take on the whole entire thing.
Oh, I'm sure that goes deeper, but yes, today that's
Well, it's just for today.
that's
It
it.
goes way deeper, way
Um,
deeper. But I'm just touching the surface.
yeah, I wanted to go to the intensity. So it may not be as intense as like you know what? Maybe well, I don't know how to touch on that. So like as far as you said, like when you're twin flame or when you're with a different divine counterpart and you want that on your highest timeline, right? The one that comes in and meets you on your highest timeline. It won't be as intense as a twin flame connection. So it will be, but not in the chaotic intensity, right? It'll be like a nice smooth sailing intensity. So it'll
Yes.
be intense because it'll be positive and it'll be great and it'll be flowing versus, what you're used to in the chaoticness of a twin flame connection if you do resonate with that. Also what I've learned and still to this day, and it's been years so far, is do not argue with anyone who is not in the room with you, right? And I was just doing this morning. I was yelling because I was like, stop. If you're not going to speak to me in person, I am not going to talk to you. That happens a lot in divine connections, right? I can't even, I mean, there's no exaggeration. It could go on and on and on. And you could block it to a certain degree. And then they, on what, subconscious, unconscious level, they will find a way to get to you because it's their higher self, their soul, their lower self, there's like so many different aspects coming and trying to communicate with you when they do not want to physically communicate with you in person. And you will hear conversations. You will hear them trying to apologize or them trying to get your attention or like all this crazy stuff, and you think you're going crazy, but you're not because you are legitimately tuned in and hearing what they are saying, and that goes for anything, not just a divine counterpart. It could be a family member, someone who is a relative of someone who passed away who's trying to come in and talk to you, and like it could be on any aspect really. And my whole thing is do not argue with anyone who is not physically in front of you. And I cannot stress that enough because it'll save you so much time and energy. But just shut it down and be like, nope, if you wanna, especially if the person is living, if you want to speak to me, then come speak to me, like in the physical form. If it's somebody passed on, then that's a whole other story. And you really have to
Right.
shut that down because it can be overwhelming and annoying on that level as well. But you just don't argue with anybody who's not there in the physical. Just say, nope, you want to talk to me like in, you know how to reach me, you know how to where to find me. And then again, if it's somebody who's already passed on or well, actually that's the only entity that's really annoying, I would think. And I don't mean that on an annoying level. I don't like, like more
Oh,
nudgy, right? Because like your
right. More
spirit
pushy.
guides, yeah, well, although spirit guides are very very pushy and nudgy. They're doing it. You can't argue with them. There's no arguing with
No, you can't. And they are doing that because they want you to
right to pay
retain the
attention.
information, write it down, and share it. With some
Uh,
people who have passed on, they they could be very pushy, and if we don't know how to shut it down properly, it could, obviously, as we both know, it could become a big problem. And I think when you're going through a spiritual awakening and you're starting to realize you might have the gift of a medium, it could be a very powerful, scary time in a person's life to navigate through that. And that's, that's hard to learn how to dial in and dial out. That takes a lot of practice. Going back to the twin flame stages, that stage 2, that's what I was talking about. When you start to be able to hear your counterpart when they're not with you in that 5D sense. And stage 2 is really hard to cut it off. And that's why you keep constantly wanting to reach out to that person, because you're hearing them in another dimension. But what you don't realize is that you're not hearing their 3D self, you're hearing their 5D self. So it's a cultivation of everything that they would want in their life in that 5D sense. But in the 3D, they're not there. So when you reach out in the 3D, you think it's going to be all sunshine and roses. And then they either don't return the call, or they're really rude to you, or they'll come back in for a minute and then drop you out of their life again. They're not ready. They're not ready for you. But it's important that that stage happens. It's a mirror image of everything that you do not like about yourself. So it's trying to show you it's time to work on that and stop chasing people who aren't ready to be in your life. So I feel like that's important. And then going back to when you are on the 3rd level, like you and I are, Nicole, where we realize what's going on, and then we're like, nope, sorry, shut it down. If you want to talk to me, you know where to find
I
me.
would like to say that we're more in a 3.5 level, more closer to the
I
4.
I feel like I feel like I am higher than the 3, but I'm not quite at the 4 yet. Because it does still affect me. And I don't even, maybe on a 4th level, it still affects, but I feel like I'm like, yes, between 3 and 4, but I haven't really mastered it yet. The emotional part of the 5th dimension. I haven't been able to manage that fully yet. When I do get the energy coming in, it's still really easy for me to kind of get sucked into it if I'm feeling a little bit lost or down. So I still have to kind of pull myself out of that energy. I'm not quite to the point where I can just fully keep myself distracted from it.
Okay. I can for the most part until it gets to the intensity level of where it's been, I guess, the past couple of days, and then I have to reprogram myself and kind of just go after that. It's it's all about the lessons and maintaining, your power, your sovereignty. Yeah, and I think that's like basically what the universe is doing to kind of guide us to like jump us right now. It's keeps giving us these lessons and these little windows of things in the past, and how fast we could bounce back, and how fast we block it out, and how fast we, like it's just it's like on repeat, like everything that we've even spoke about, like the past two, the first 2 podcasts. It's on repeat. It's like it's the universe kind of wants us to just keep repeating the same thing, like stop chasing. Don't chase after anything, any single thing. They don't want you to chase after a person, an opportunity, a freaking anything. Even your dog, they're saying do not chase, because you're supposed to be attracting in. Everything is your worthiness. If you feel, and I don't know why they're using the dog as an example, but they're saying that, if you have a dog that runs out, that likes to run out of the house, if you feel worthy of that dog and that love from the dog, and that dog will come back to you. Like the dog will turn around, stop running, and come back to you. And that's the magnetics that they want everyone, like they want us to hold on to. No chasing at all. I keep saying, like, I keep giving them the image of, well, what happens when your toddler runs away and you have to go chase the toddler? Like the toddler is not going to come back. But
That's always fun.
eventually the toddler will come back. But it doesn't pertain to young children that you are responsible for. But they're saying, like, as far as animals go, because it's animals in general, and they are on a very high frequency, that if you remain in your power, the animal will come right back. So they're saying, do not chase. Everything is just, sit and let it come to you and let it flow to you. Let it flow.
I think it's interesting that you use the dog as an analogy. The first thing I thought of is loyalty. Dogs are
Oh,
very, very loyal, and so they'll always find their way back to you. I think it's funny that you
unless
use
you're an
the
asshole and then they keep, they're like,
well,
yeah, no, peace out.
well, not yeah, I guess, but I mean, majority of
The
dogs are
majority, yes.
loyal, so they always want to find their way back home. I think it's a interesting analogy to use. Your angels were trying to show you, like, if they want to come back home, they're going to come back home. If they're loyal, they'll find their way back. And
Right.
if not, then they're just assholes. And they weren't meant to be with you anyway.
Exactly.
So
And oh, okay. So that's what they're triggering me to right now. All right. So what did you just say? What if it's meant to be, they won't come back? What did you just say? Because now I'm like all up in my head and I
said
can't get it
it
out.
like a dog that's loyal. If it's meant to
If
be,
it's
they'll come back. And if they
if
don't
it's
come
meant to
back,
be, right. And if they don't come back, you're just gonna have to deal with it.
you're
Right.
just gonna have to
So
deal with it.
right. So that's what they're letting me know. So because there's a major shift, major things are happening. Um, and you have to be okay with things that will fall off and like fall off as far as connections in general, which we've spoken about, right? I mean, you kind of just have to let some connections just go. And they can meet you on a higher timeline. But they're saying you have to be okay, and this is so not okay with me saying this, but whatever, I'm just gonna say it. You have to be okay with someone moving on to the next chapter, which can happen. And they're saying it's gonna come in, and I've seen it already. A handful of people have passed away, young, old. They're saying just brace yourself and know that it's not the end of their journey, it's just the end of their journey in the physical with you. They really want me to stress that's coming in. I'm not saying it's going to be your child or your mother or like somebody you're close to, but in some aspects it can be, and you have to kind of be prepared for that. And it's funny because they've kind of had that image with me the whole week as far as it's just so, how things come across and like so odd and dynamic. But like yeah, they're saying that, it could very well be, and already it's happened. I've seen, two young kids over here around here that have passed
Mm.
away so far. They're saying that it could be anyone, and you just have to be not prepared, because I guess you're not prepared, but you have to come to, like your inner self, your soul, because your soul knows that there's still, I guess you would use the phrase alive, but just not in the physical, right? They're still on their journey. They're just in, an aspect where another level dimension where you can't see them. So that's going to be coming into play. I'm feeling that. I don't know why that's, but I had to share that. So just know that, you could, you have to be okay with whoever's going to leave this plane of existence, I guess would be the word that I'm trying to say, um, soon. And I
Yeah.
would say like within the next like couple of months, weeks to months. But there's going to be like a massive shift. Of people who just souls that just are not prepared either to go into like the full 5D, or souls that are just done, like their contracts are done. But I guess it's coming in at like all at the same time, and it's going to look like a major shift. So, and I know that has started already. So they're just wanting you know, to prepare, but not to prepare, to just remember it more of a remembrance of that. Just because they're not here in the physical with you, like doesn't mean that they're not going to be with you. You're just not. It's just not going to be obviously the same. People don't understand that, but they're still around you and they still have life lessons to learn. Well, it's actually not life lessons, it's soul lessons that they still have to learn once they pass on from here.
Right.
But they're telling me that, you have to accept it and not even be prepared, just accept it and realize that, there's more to this life than just being here in the physical. Oof. Okay, that was like very
Yes, that was. That was. And I could feel the vibration as you were speaking about that. And the first thing that actually came to me is I do want to say that I do feel that your message, somebody in the collective needed to hear that. I do feel like I was picking up on a mother figure that had already passed away. And this person is struggling with that feeling. And I think that you you touched her. So whoever's listening in the collective, that message was for you. And there, and also a part going forward with your message too, is that I do feel like that shift is happening, and somebody, maybe that person, it hasn't happened yet, but they'll, play it a year from now and they'll hear it. But I that was a really strong message. So thank you for that, whatever came through you. Somebody
Oh,
out
no
there,
problem. It's my
there is somebody
pleasure.
out there who really needed to hear that. I feel that very strongly.
I I feel like there's more than one person that needed to hear that. I feel like we're all on some level going to be affected by that. It's just a matter of where it's coming from. If that makes sense. Who the person is that we're going to be losing out of our lives. But I have a feeling like we're all going to be able to relate to that at some point.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely at some point. But I
Soon.
was just picking
At
up
some point soon.
strongly. Yeah, I was just picking up strongly on one particular person who really needed that message at this time. So,
Yeah. And
but
it's
yeah,
funny
we
because after that, my pen literally just stopped working. So they wanted me, oh, and now it's working again. Oh my God, you can't make this up today.
no, you can't.
Okay. So should we I mean, I guess that would be I was gonna say they want me to touch on fear also, but I guess that is fear. That is a form of fear, the fear that like, you're gonna lose somebody here and your whole life shifts and it kind of does, and it brings you to like a whole other level, and it kind of does open up gifts that you do have when somebody passes away because you're more acceptable to wanting to connect to that person. So I think I think that's the shift that they're trying to enable. I think we're in a grand scheme of things going to try to be more on a telepathic level because we are in this on the physical plane. We are the only ones who actually use voices versus telepathically we communicate with everybody, every other dimension, solar system. I don't know how you want to call it. Anybody out there in the universe and on any shift, the only people that communicate with voices are us, are human beings. So they're trying to move it more to a telepathic um type of level, which a lot of us already, can communicate telepathically. So I think by having that important person or that one person, in your life that's going to pass away, if that happens, listen, don't quote me on that. I'm just the messenger. It's going to bring in your gifts, is going to make you, it's just part of that person's soul contract with you. It's just going to like illuminate and highlight your gifts and be able to like ping on certain things and pick up on things, telepathically as well. And kind of open your eyes to a higher level and perspective. That's what that's the whole thing is about. It's being able to open you up to things that you didn't think were humanly possible, that you were kind of taught as a child that, oh, it's magic, it's just a TV show, it's just a whatever. Like, like that nothing else exists except for us in this one little lifetime, like on this world when there's an entire universe and then some out there that like it's kind of mind-blowing how much is really out there when you're when
Yes,
you're
it's
in it and
infinite.
you're yeah, for real. Oh
It
my
just keeps
God.
going and going. Yeah, that is, first of all, I just want to say, ever since you gave that message, I haven't been like, I keep hearing all these different people trying to tell
Oh,
me, like, talk about me, and bring this up or bring that up. I'm sorry, we don't have that much time. So I pretty much had to, ask all these people to leave because I can't bring up each person listening's
Mhm.
situation, even though they want to. But I do want to stress that, yes, in the sadness, uh, there will be blessings for you, and it will open up spiritual growth. So, you need to be open to that. So then you can connect with those people on another level and realize that even though we can't physically see them, there doesn't mean that they're not there. And you'll be able to learn in that and grow in that and be able to see that. And then you don't become so afraid of losing somebody or become so afraid of death itself because you realize that this isn't it. This isn't the end.
You know what's funny is, you and I together can channel crazy, crazy shit as we know. So yeah, we're gonna have to like put out a mental note to like people that we are not doing a huge medium workshop on our podcast. Although who knows, you never know. But like as of right now, we
As
are
of
not
right now,
taking
we're
any.
not, but I just, oh my gosh, ever since you brought in one person, I feel like my office is just filled with people. And now I cannot even concentrate because I just keep having people tell me different things. But one thing I'm being pushed to say, so I'm just going to say it. So maybe then they will just decide that that was good and leave me alone so I can concentrate on what I was talking about. But
This is actually a perfect example of when you are a medium and you need to shut somebody down because they're being nudgy, right? Difference
yes.
between your guides and somebody who wants to try to get a message around. But this is a perfect example. Go ahead, Christine, go share your
Yes,
message.
so I'm just gonna relay this message so that I can move on. This person is just asking me to just take a minute to talk about um, when people leave this world that take their own lives, um, that as a child or a family member or friend, anything of that sort, understand that they were going through something. It was their own personal thing, and to grieve them, as forgive them and grieve them. Don't continue to stay angry at them. um Learn how to forgive them and grieve them, because when you stay angry at them, you're holding an energy. It's keeping them from moving to the other side. So if you can release and forgive that energy, oh gosh, sorry, then they're able to move on to the other side where they want to be. So just keep that in mind, and the energy dissipates. That was the message
Okay.
that I had to share.
You need to breathe and
That was just
that does
nudging
come. I
me
remember
so
that coming
bad.
out with clients a lot. Yeah. Probably why I don't do mediumship anymore.
Yeah, that was really heavy. And that was somebody, just so we know, just so the collective knows, that was somebody's child that was speaking
Yeah.
to me, that had passed about a year ago. And so they're asking for you to please forgive them. Don't hold on to anger within yourself. Don't hold on to anger within them, and let it go so that they can move out of that in between dimension and up to a higher level.
Um, that happens. Yeah, I mean, happens a lot, not just for, that person in particular, but holding on to anybody that's passed on.
Yeah,
You kind of have to let them go because they have other things to do. I
they have
mean,
other things to
it's
do.
true. They really do have other things to do. They can come and they can hang with you for a bit and they can help you with the lessons that you need to help you with. But you're once you leave here, you are so not done. You have a lot of things going on. It's more of on a positive aspect. There's no sadness on that level. There's no loneliness. It's actually from from what I hear and what I know, it's very comical. So like there's lots of humor on that side, which is why, like I guess like everybody defaults to humor on this side, but nothing's really that funny. Like when you're trying to make something funny, the person's just like stone cold. You're like, okay then.
Or we think it's funny, but the person looks at us like we're crazy. Yeah.
Right. But like our default mechanism is to be humor, and that they really do kind of zone in on I guess when you move to the next level. I mean, listen, some people refer to it as heaven, so if we want to refer to it as heaven right now, it's very humorous there in the light. Very humorous. That kind of brings me to when your guides are approaching you and when you start to feel like, that things are near you and you're picking up on entities and energies. So like if you don't know, especially for beginners, right? When you first kind of come into all your clairs and things just start lighting up and like you see shadows and like you could just be sitting here and you see numbers flash and like it's like or movies and I used to see movies like all the time. It's like they used to just play things for me and I guess I still see that. It comes from every different direction with me, so it doesn't really matter. But when it's somebody that's passed on, you get like this emotional bond to that person who's trying to communicate with you, right? So you like whether it's a grandmother, a grandfather, an aunt, uncle, a child, a cousin, a friend, whatever, you always have that emotional like sense. So it's, you pick up on sadness or loneliness, like it's they're trying to get your attention. So it's the way that that person makes you feel is how you're going to relate to the person who's near you, right?
Right.
And like anything that you smell, like you could smell, like if they used to smoke cigarettes, you smell the cigarettes. If they used to burn coffee, smell the bird's coffee. Like there's like many things, that'll pick up to tell you that it's a relative. When it is a guide of some sort, trying to reach out to you, whether it's your spirit team, whether it's an angel, a saint, like any different entities, but we won't go there. Anybody else that's on a positive level trying to give you information, it sometimes can come across very mean. And I say that in a nice way because I always joke around saying that it is so nice on the other side, right? Everybody's all like, there's no such thing as being nasty, being mean, being mad. There's no negative behavior at all on the other side. So when they do come over and they're like, like trying to install fear in you, it's just to get your attention. And sometimes that could be overwhelming because you're like, hey, you're supposed to be nice and sweet, like but it's not. They're installing fear because that's the human behavior that they know that will get your attention for you to move faster. So just like know the difference. I mean, obviously, if there's something bad that's coming near you, your whole body is going to shut down. Your nervous system is going to react in a different way. Even when there's like a new guide around, you may be a little skeptical because you're not used to the energy, but it'll shift very, very fast versus something that's not nice in your energy field. You kind of have to push away really fast and try not to put any acknowledgement towards it. But yes, so that was just my overall. But yeah, the guides want to know that they do come in stern, some of them are very funny right off the bat and can be serious, but still humorous and whatever. Some come off so angelic. I mean, that it's just like, like very peaceful. And then some come in trying to get your attention going, yo, I told you to walk that way, go walk that way. And you're like, well, I don't want to walk that way. I said, go walk that way. And they make you feel like you're going to get stabbed and murdered if you turn around and walk the other way. I've been there. It's not fun. And it's like, and they're just directing you to like this cute little store where they want you to buy something. And you're like, really?
Right.
Did you have to go down that route of installing like major fear in me thinking I was going to die if I was going to walk the other way? So, but to them that's humorous. So you need to like kind of pick up on their humor of which guide you're dealing with. But just know that if it's something positive, and even though it's like installing fear, it's a different kind of fear if it's negative, right? So like if it's any negative entity or energy around you, your entire back will get stiff. Your nervous system will just like kind of freak out, and it'll be a different type of a different type. So, and at that point, you just like push it away and say, no, no, thank you, and kind of call in anyone, like an angel, anything that you believe in, even like, a past loved one to come and like help you remove that energy out of the way. But I just wanted to discuss like the difference of feelings, I guess. I don't know.
No, I love that because it's important when you're starting out and you're just starting to meet your guides and learn about them. There are really different ways that they come in, so that's good. And then once you learn your guides, then you're like, oh, here you come. You're like, that they're coming. My guide is a male shaman, and he is just so stern. So when he comes in, it's like, yeah, you need to stop dead in your tracks. This is what's going on. Take my information. And if you don't take my information, I bet you are going to regret it. So just listen now. I've learned with him. I've learned with him. I've ignored him many times, and it's only ended up being worse than if I would have just listened the first time around.
Yeah. So yeah, my advice would be listen the first time around. To anybody who's listening to this, when you hear something that like is very like potent, just listen the first time, because let me tell you, it is not going to come around and like again in a nice form. It'll just keep getting more and more intense and not nice. And I even joke around with my guides that are stern, because I'm like, aren't you supposed to be like ha ha ha, like very, like laughy and nice, and then like kind of just like answer me like, listen, bitch, but like not in that way, but like, in that form, like, weird. Does it look like I'm playing right now? Like, this is what you need to do. And like, you're like, okay. Like you're writing it down, or you go and do that, or like you're meant to walk to the mailbox and meet somebody just to like brighten up their day. Like you never know what it's going to be, and it could be like they make it seem like it's like this extravagant thing, and it's just like, again, you meeting somebody walking out of the house and smiling at them, and that was what you were meant to do, and you're like, did you really have to go like to that extreme to get me to go out of the house? And they'll answer and they'll be like, yes, because you weren't going to go out any
Because you
other
weren't
way.
going to go outside if I didn't make you feel like you had no choice but to go outside.
Like if the entire house is going to blow up, go outside. And you're like, okay.
I'm going. I surrender. I'm on my way.
With the surrendering, yeah, I guess that kind of brings us to the surrendering, right? You have to be able to surrender, and I think that's huge. Like that's our major lesson right now, going into 2025. Is major surrender, and I think a lot of people are doing that, and they're doing great. And again, that all plays into your mindset, right? So as soon as fear comes in, you just kind of have to throw it up there, surrender, and have those like amazing images of what your life is going to look like, what it should look like. You're not giving these images just by chance, right? So the universe gives you these images because it's glimpses of what your reality really should look like. You just have to be able to be on that timeline to receive all of this, all of the beautiful, pretty things that you want, and just even not even the pretty, beautiful things. It's the feeling of being, of having all the pretty, beautiful things, and being surrounded by like unconditional love, and a gorgeous house, and a gorgeous relationship, and like just everything healthy, and vibing great, and they give you these glimpses, and they want you to hold that vision. So when the fear does come up, that's exactly what you're doing. You're surrendering to that vision. Like that's the vision that you're holding for yourself and your world, and that's what you should go to. So surrender that fear. The faster the better, let me tell you. Faster the better. I can't stress that.
Faster the better. We cannot stress that enough. The faster the better. But yes, that is so true. Just holding on to it, but surrendering to, you can't control what that's going to look like. So you can't control, the situation around it. You have to surrender all of it. You have to surrender everything to it and let the universe kind of take the reins and build it for you, so you could build upon it pretty much. But it doesn't, you have to surrender to the fact that it's not going to look maybe exactly like you wanted it to. But
Yeah,
if
I
it
think
looked
that has to
exactly
be a
like
major
you wanted it
focus.
to, unfortunately, your ego would make it, you know, be something completely different than what you thought it out to be.
Yeah. I don't know. I think we kind of need to stress that. Is exactly what you said. It's the keep the vision, but not the way that you get there. Um, very potent, very, very potent to surrender that. And I think that's the biggest thing that people are having to surrender, right? They don't understand that. They're like, oh, you hear things where it's like, have the vision and then go after the vision. Not exactly. You're going after yourself and clearing out yourself in order for the vision to come to you. So if you're trying to like push it in a direction where like, okay, so this is, for example, this was me when I was younger. Like I had a list of when I was 22, I was going to get married at this and that. Like I had whatever. That's you pushing the narrative, right? It doesn't work out very well when you push the narrative, right? And I think we all need to like, really understand that fact that when you have to surrender the way that you're going to get from A to B. And once you surrender and you kind of clear out everything that's blocking that and not chasing, right? It's okay to have a plan, right? Everybody is, everybody has vision boards and whatever, and that's all fine and dandy. But like the plan to get from A to B has to be flexible, very, very, very flexible. I can't stress that enough. But in all, retrospects or however you want to say it is when you get to B, it's going to be 20 million times better than you could have ever imagined. You being able to push there, like what you would have gotten out of pushing there, because it wouldn't be the same at all. And this one's kind of just, like when you let it come to you, it's flawless. It's completely flawless. And you just have to be able to, you know, uh, be able to maintain it as well and have it keep coming and flowing in. And that's also, with surrender, you have to learn how to do that as well. So once you get that manifestation, right, and once you reach that timeline, it's keeping that and holding that and like letting it continuously flow and not letting you fall out of that bracket of shutting it down or getting overwhelmed or thinking, oh, I have enough now. I don't need it. No, 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 you never have enough. You're always worthy and deserve everything and everything and everything and everything. You kind of have to keep going with that. So, yeah.
I agree. I think that was a beautiful place to stop the podcast for today. I really love that to end it. It gives us all something to think about for next week.